Okay, welcome to the last talk of the day, everyone. We have Horatiu Roman here, and he does everything. He is an experimental musician, he's a programmer, he's a game designer. What else do you do? He's a serial game jammer, glasses designer, he does everything. And so he's going to tell you how to overcome creative limitations, because I guess he must do that a lot with all the skills that he has. So, give it up for Horatiu!
Thank you very much. Creativity breeds limitations. I made this morning, so I thought I was going to wear it so people know it's me. But I'm going to take it off, I think. And of course, this is wrong, so I'm actually going to. Limitations breed creativity. Yay! Okay, so it's off to a good start. So I'm going to talk about limitations and creativity and the connections and their relationship to games and also to life and maybe other stuff too. And let's see if this works. I brought my... that's me. So I'm Horatiu. I make games and music. And I've been part of VR Unicorns for 5 years, making VR games. Actually, this is way too fancy. I've been making Zest. There's a board game I made and kickstarted, and it was great for a couple of years. Then I went into a design agency called Manyone, and then I became mostly independent in my home studio. Complicated nonsense. I'm from Romania, from '93. I made a lot of games at game jams for many years. I haven't counted, but maybe it's like close to 100 jams. So I love game jams. It's like the best thing ever. And I make jazz and I like it. Also, so that's me. And click and up and picture up. And here's my studio, Complicated Nonsense. And it encompasses what I do, which is weird stuff that you don't really explain, you don't really know what it is. And jazz, what is jazz? I don't know, I like it. It's like crazy, I mean, it makes you feel good. And in games, I like experimental games and ideas that blow your mind. And wow, why didn't I think of that? It can be something very simple. I love that. So I thought this kind of what encompasses it. And I try to make my website fancy. Let's go to the website just so you can see real quick what I do. So, different videos, I make VR stuff. This is from Game Jam in Iceland, it was really fun. This is an Unreal, just boring Fox. Yeah, and stuff, and I make some fancy projects and stuff. So, and there's a lot back here that I'm not going to get into, but I just thought I'm going to do a quick scroll. And see, there's a lot of jam games. It all looks very impressive. It's just jam games, but I made it to hopefully get some work and stuff, show off what I do. I have been bad at documenting, so I'm documenting this talk and I'm trying to document my work now a little bit better. So you're part of the process. Thank you. So, what is this limitations breed creativity? What am I talking about? What are limitations? I try to introduce it. So we're talking about limitations of the life, you have limited time and space, everybody knows that, we're all the human condition. We love to talk about that when we write poetry and stuff. I don't know, make games. We have limited money and attention spans and screen space. Now I have a lot of screen space actually, I didn't think about that. But you cannot fill it with a lot of stuff. So those kind of limitations suck. Do we all agree limitations suck? Does anybody here like limitations?
Yes.
Oh. Maybe you've seen the version of this talk, but anyway. They're weird to think limitations? Really? We want freedom. Freedom! I talked to someone, I'm an enemy of limitations, breeding creativity. That was a feedback when I said, hey, what do you think about my talk? Enemies. I have enemies now. And they're like, oh, if I'm designing a game and Nintendo gives me a controller, now I have to make the game shit thanks to limitation. And if if you want to overcome the writer's block, you can just write anything. And then blah, 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 you kept writing the whole stuff. Well, okay, fair enough, but the thing is, life has limitations, no? You hit them all the time. It's like, what are you gonna do? You can either think about how limitations suck, oh, I hate that I'm limited, I don't have time for this, I can do so much, if only for those damn limitations. Or you can think, well, I'm gonna embrace the limitations that I have, I'm gonna try to dance around them and see what comes out, and maybe look at what I have and look at the positive side. Limitations, playing with them, they can give you ideas, they can give you a direction, so there's a lot into it. So let's tap into that. Okay, get off stage, time to get off the stage. I hope this doesn't cause feedback, because I want to come and do the talk from here or something, I don't know. Challenge the conventions. What is limitations really about? Because, I don't know, you're on stage and you have to give a talk. Do you have to do it from the stage? You know what I mean? Do you have to, can you just not come here and sit down? Everybody's gonna remember, oh, that guy went off stage, oh, cool. Cheap trick, whatever. So, this is part of what I wanted to talk about. Look beyond the box. Think about the conventions that's in your head, the limitations that you think are limitations, but maybe they're not limitations. Life's too short to live limitations always on your head in that boring way. So, what about creativity? What's that all about? Well, I want to ask you guys for a couple of words. What do you want? Anybody want to say short? What is creativity? Define real quick. Don't worry, I also have definition. So if you feel too shy, we can skip that. Anybody has one? Raise his hand. Oh,
combining ideas in new ways.
Combining ideas in new ways. Yeah, I like it. Yeah.
A need for creating stuff.
A need for
Creating stuff.
to create something. Yeah, you have a need. You want to make something. Yes, make it come true from your head into the real world. I like it. What else? Anybody else? Yeah. Okay.
It's fun.
It's fun. Have fun creating. Cool. Yeah.
Make complicated simple.
Make complicated simple. Nice. Okay. I mean, yeah. Okay.
Leaving a mark on the world.
I think the mark on the world. I like it.
Make simple complicated.
Make simple complicated. Yes. I like it. Complicated is good, but it can also be the other way. I think there's a lot of different ways to look at it. So I like that you have ideas. Let's carry on. We have more stuff. So my cool slide number one: creativity is not like a bag of potatoes. The more you take from it, the more you have left. That's a version of Maya Angelou quote, but I like the bag of potatoes image because it's like you're not gonna run out of ideas if you just super creative all the time and use your creativity all the time. It's actually gonna get better and you're gonna have more. So don't be afraid of running out of creativity. Not gonna happen. So I mean, maybe this is obvious to everybody. I don't know. Probably all I say is obvious to someone, but maybe there's a little something that you forgot about. I don't know which one. I'm just gonna drink this. Okay, with that in mind, we have workshop. I didn't test the audio. We have workshop. So I don't know if you have something to write, but please get it while I get this sorted. If you want to join in on the workshop, and then we're gonna do timed workshop. It's only 42 seconds. Okay, we've got a little Osama to help us with the workshop. Okay, and I'm gonna join you. I'm still off the stage. It's not that kind of talk. So we have 42 seconds to write 3 game ideas. Wait, where's the slide? It's 3 new game ideas, no limits. Okay, 42 seconds, let's go. time's up. Okay, what do you got? I got one idea. I got two ideas. Okay, you don't have to share it, but it could be fun, so I don't know. If anybody wants to share a couple of ideas, let's go. Quick round. Okay, you're the closest one again.
Yeah. A visual novel where each time you make a decision, you change to a different character.
Okay.
A treadmill VR game where you get to be the Flash and your speed corresponds to how fast you're running on the treadmill, and you use that to basically fight enemies and overcome.
Because Flash runs infinitely fast, honestly.
Yeah, it would be like
Okay.
a sort of like,
Nice. Okay, thanks. What else? Let's get from the back. Do you want to go with that?
Pancake flip simulator, but it's like turning a pro skater with like combinate like make combos and stuff.
While you're skating?
Yeah. No, but flipping. Multiple flips.
Or those are the, yeah, and you do tricks, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, cool and doable. What?
I kind of like a thing where you give like the RPG kind of type of the like you interview kind of these RPG kind of guys and you assign them their jobs. So like you kind of have to figure out which job will fit them as an RPG kind of thing.
To get to know the characters,
Yeah.
to figure out what job would work.
Yeah,
And
yeah, kind of what class
get it
they
wrong
would
and then
be.
they mess
Yeah,
it
they're
up.
like, ouch, I would be a better healer than fighter or something.
Oh yeah, that's cool. I mean, you can also do it wrong on purpose. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I like it, but yeah. Yeah, I don't. One more. Okay. Yeah.
A PvP golf game.
PvP golf game.
Swing and you fire golf to
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that can work. Actually. Yeah, I think. Okay. Cool. Wow. Great ideas. Let's not linger too long on this, because now we're going to the next slide. Reflect. What have we done just now? How was it to make up game ideas like this? This is normal. I mean, we're a game jam, right? Everybody's done this a million times. Does anybody have any reflections they want to share? Okay, Julia.
We work with limitations.
Work with limitations. What was the limitation?
3 ideas
Three ideas.
and time limit.
Oh yeah. I mean, I wrote one. But it's true. It's a limitation. I mean, we always work with limitations, right? So that's a good point. Yeah, not really what I had in mind. But I mean, I love that we came up with so many passable ideas. Honestly, I like these ideas. I thought it's gonna be much worse. Mine is shit. But what about, I don't know, somebody had a hand there. Yeah?
I think that limitation forces you to put the first idea you have on paper. And not
Yeah. It's also the time limitation, right? It's true, yeah, it just forces you to throw them out. Yeah, that's a good point. It's much better when you have like 1 minute than when you have half an hour. You still come up with 3 ideas, but you only spend a minute. It's true, yeah.
Like without the limitation of like a theme or something, just do whatever it's hard as hell.
It's
And stressful.
It's hard as hell and stressful, yeah. I think so, but I mean, we have so many ideas in the room, so it can't be that hard, right? I guess, I don't know. But it's a very good point. I thought it was gonna be very hard. And I mean, it was a little bit hard. Clearly, I failed. One. So we are.
Like you don't have time to second guess your ideas, you know. So
Yeah.
it's kind of, so even though that's a limitation, it kind of gives you more freedom because you don't have time to second guess yourself.
Just gonna bring a mic to hover in the back side of the room, and then we can all hear it better. But yeah, you don't have time to hover and stuff. That's just yeah, no time to overthink and stuff. That's a very good point. So I like that. But I mean, okay, did you all think your ideas were good? You could really make those games and be good games? How many thought that about your 3 ideas? Yeah, fair. I believe in some of your ideas. Not all of them, but good. I saw some hands. Good, yes. I think my game, what was it? About water. You're on a boat and you have not to sink, but the boat gets more and more whacked and disasters happen. I mean, good work. I don't know if it's my favorite game, but you know. Anyway, so good reflections. Let's move on. Okay, new workshop. 42 seconds. We're gonna write 3 game ideas. You can only use 1 button for your game. It's gonna be digital game, 1 button games. 42 seconds. I'm gonna start the bossa nova. You can also write more ideas if you want. Oh, spoiler alert. You want to reflect on it. Okay, and go. Okay, time's up. The chorus theme. Okay, what do we got? I got actually maybe a kind of a funny one. Anyway, anybody want to share? Should I go first, just because it's on the screen and you can see both game idea? I want a presentation one. I want to present that one. It's a one button game to go through the slides, but the weird slides you have to go fast so nobody sees them. Okay, that's mine. Okay, I'm gonna go back to the presentation. Okay, who wants to share? Okay, just for the fun, I'm gonna take you because you spoke before.
A rhythm game meant to teach people CPR.
Okay, one button game, I like it, I like it. Okay, new person, okay, somebody who didn't talk. You talked, you didn't have it, okay.
Make food for cosmonauts. Like you experiment of how is a food for cosmonauts will look like.
Because you know it has this weird compress of powder.
Yeah, it's fascinating. But what do you do for the button?
It's basically like a chemist student or like scientist, and you just combine some elements together to have a result.
Okay. Yeah, I like it. Okay, what else?
Practically, a guy needs to run the work. He has 1 minute, and the button is practically how fast it can go. Like the more you press, the faster you go. And practically, he has cars, giraffe, animals, whatever they can go on it.
Okay, so just fast.
Exactly.
Run fast and smash it. Okay, cool.
So it would be a rap battle game, but it would be in Morse code.
Oh, fuck, that's amazing. Okay, rap battle in Morse code. You have to know Morse code though, but that's an amazing game. I love it. Bizarre game. Wow. Memorable. Okay, you go and
Yeah, it's hard to go after this.
No.
No, a game where you have to pull a tree out of the ground by pressing a button, and then you have to release the button at the right time, because if it's too long, you cannot uproot the tree.
Oh, yeah, it's super interesting. Yeah. Strangely ecological theme. Yeah. Okay. For front, and we go front back. Okay, you first.
Yes.
You're trying to swim across the ocean and you just don't want to drown. So you have to press the button to swim and not drown.
Okay, press button to swim, not drown.
But you're trying to get to the destination, so there is a goal.
Okay.
It's not just about drowning.
Anything else is just drop. And I guess one end game. What is it? Yeah, I like it. Okay, one more and then we go.
Like an on-rail shooter, but you don't control the movement or the aiming, but only when you shoot, because you're drunk.
Yes. Oh, that's cool. I should have that game. Anyway, nice.
Can I keep your limitation with the input?
Once again?
Can I keep your limitation with the input?
Choose a vision with input.
Yes.
No. You.
Remember those 90s games where it's like this fidgeting thing where it's like plastic blocks of water in it?
Yeah.
Like
The
little
rings.
you have exactly that but digital.
That was digital. I mean, solid. I still can't get over the Morse code. So. Anyway, last one.
Yeah, a typing game where you only have one button for every letter. You remember the old phones where you had to tap the same button all the time, but now it's just one button.
26 times.
Yeah, it's just like
easy. Boring. Alright. Conceptual.
yes.
Okay, great. Let's go on to everyone's favorite slides. How do you feel about this? What was different? Any thoughts?
I've been through games that are like similar to that, like
I'll
games that also use a button. I think.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's true. It's a lot of similarities because, but I mean, have you ever heard of Morse? Come on. Okay, one.
It made me think more of actual gameplay games. The first I wrote down for real was Peel and Onion. Those are the first, whatever that came to mind. And I don't know how that's game. But this time I wrote something that was closer to a game.
Yeah. That's fair. I mean, look, it's a huge cheat. It's the second time we do it. So of course we're gonna have better ideas. We already had 3 crappy ideas. But regardless of that, I think it's a good point because now already we had something to bounce off. We had the limitation. We didn't have to. I'm sorry I didn't take your idea. Okay, what was the idea? No input limitation. Tell me.
I wanted to have the mute button, and then I wanted to shoot, and then the player would have to imitate the sound of the weapon he was using to kill the enemy. So, for example, do or something like that.
Okay. Yeah, it's cool. Okay, because it connects to my next point. Is we had the limitation 1 button. You had this idea. It's not using 1 button. It's totally wrong for the exercise, but that doesn't matter. This exercise is crap anyway. It's about the idea process, and you actually had some ideas that were about something because you had this. What do you call it in this book? You were primed. I don't know. It's you have something in your head. Now you have something to talk about. It can be within the theme. It can go against it. I don't know if I have a slide for that, but anyway. I think it's really cool. I wanted to show other sort of 1 button game inspired stuff. It's this brutally unfair tactics, totally okay now. Bottom is a game made by this Copenhagen people back in the day. Let's just have a quick look here. So the game is different mini games, and you just have 1 button each player. It's multiplayer, you know. And then maybe the game is like, you have to press the button first. So obviously that's, you know, first person to hold it for 7 seconds. So now you're fighting off the other one so they don't hold their button. Then you have like, you have to do 5 push-ups and then press the button. Then you have whatever. So you can see how crazy it gets with this button mechanic. And it's just kind of in the conventions between the players that the game happens. And I mean, it's a 1 button game. It doesn't really matter. Sometimes it's about something else and so on. But I thought it was a really cool thing to show you, and you know, now you know about what else. And I guess it leads me into affordances. I don't know how I did the segue in my notes, but anyway, the idea is I want to talk about affordances, like limitations. When I learn about affordances, maybe everybody knows about this, so I'm not going to wrap up too long, but it's a different way of saying what is an object capable of doing? What can you do with it? So the example we used was a cup. What can you do with a cup? Okay, quick hands. If you have it, you can drink from it, you can throw it, you can hide a spider, you can smash it and cut open your package to get your game control. I don't know. You can do so many things with the cup, and then it's all because the cup is what it is. If it didn't have the handle, you couldn't hang it on a string and, I don't know, do something. It's like, when you look at the world through the lens of affordances, it's like, wow, everything has potential, and that the designer can see the potential in stuff around just because you know that it can do stuff, you know? And then and somebody who's not designed is like, wow, how did you know that stuff? It's like, it's already there, you know what I mean? And then it blew my mind when I learned about affordances. I made this great slide. Are those affordances in the room with us right now? Well, yes. I wanted to, you know, let's think about this room. Now I kind of used my one-trick pony thing. I'm going to use it again. What are the affordances of this room? What can you do in this room in a game's sense? Give me some ideas. I mean, we can throw away paper airplanes. That was one of my. What else can we do? Give me something else.
See who can touch the
Touch the ceiling. Great. Yeah. Maybe just shout. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, sorry, no. Just shout it. No more hands. Just say it.
The floor is lava.
Floor is lava. No, yeah, great.
Avoid eye contact.
Avoid eye contact. Or make eye contact.
At the table.
How much noise
Yeah.
can a roof make?
How much
Noise can a
noise
roof
can a
make?
roof? A lot. I think this one. But yeah, how quiet can it get?
Who gets
What
out
does
first?
what sound does this clock make when it goes to the next one? We learned that the weird way in the night when we were working on our presentation. Okay, we're not gonna wait a minute. That was weird sound. Super weird clock. Anyway, for sure that gives you something, you know. It's like, and we learned this in the course of interaction design. So I want to talk about games are the art of interaction. If you strip away everything from a game, that's what it is. And I think it's an art form because there's nothing else that really talks about interaction and how it makes you feel and all these other things and tell stories that art is all about. So that's kind of the lens we were learning in interaction design and game design course, is look at the world through like a game designer. What can you do with things? And it can also, of course, work in digital games. That's probably what we're going to work on this weekend. Think about the jump mechanic. Yeah, it can take your character, but it can also do other stuff. You can hit stuff you know. You can avoid stuff. But suddenly it's a button, so you can do multiple things. It changes stuff. You can control different things. All these affordances are things you can easily put into stuff just because they are part of what you're making anyway. So I think that comes with a limitation for free. You just have to realize, wait a minute, I can do all that, and then suddenly a billion options. Okay. Somebody said, said, you can talk about signifiers. I'm going to talk about all that crap. You can go do a course in interaction design. I'm going to talk about intuition. I think that's cool. And what is intuitive? Maybe it's too long to keep doing the rounds, so I'm just going to go a little bit faster now. I don't know how long we have left. Not fast, yeah. Let's run a little bit through it. So, everybody knows what's intuitive. How to design things so it's obvious how to interact with it. I mean, maybe you have slightly different definitions, but I think it's a little bit about use what people already know about stuff. And in games, it's really cool. You're trying to tell a story, you're trying to make an experience. You don't really want to talk about everything all the time. Sometimes you just want to tell a story about love or whatever. You don't want to teach the player too much about how to enter the car and do all this stuff. So it's good to think intuitively. And how can you teach your players anything ever? It's kind of a funny question, because of course you can teach players stuff, but the key word for me is ever. It's like, it's going to take time to teach your players to do stuff in your game. So if that's not a fun process, maybe there's a way you can design around what they do so that they already kind of know what it does. You see a door, you can go through it. You see a cup, you can pick it up and drink and throw it and do all this other stuff. A car, you ride with it. But then of course you can subvert those experiences. So if you're a little bit aware of it, you can use this creatively and tell your story rather than be stuck in other things. You try and teach players how to do a boring story. So what is intuitive? Some nice examples, because I thought, creative limitations and so on. Maybe I show some real examples. My stuff is all, I don't know if I have a lot of success, so maybe what I'm talking is complete nonsense. But I mean, Zelda is cool. I'm going to talk about the fire. They have fire in
Thanks,
the
blue clothes. This is very nostalgic.
This is a great talk, by the way. They explain how
当
they
時の
use
実
Zelda
験
Breath
と
of the
完成し
Wild.
たブレス・オブ・ザ・ワイルドの映像を見てみましょ
So
う。
first they made
So
a
let's take a look at
video.
this footage where we compare the experiment and the result, which is Breath of the Wild.
I thought that's pretty cool because they limited things to 2D because they wanted to test out this new mechanics ideas to create, they call it a chemics engine, a chemical engine. About physics engines, about physics and whatever. They invented the chemicals so things can turn into other stuff and fire burn a thing, then it becomes cold and you can use it for this and that. I haven't played the game, so I'm talking a bit out of scope here, but I think it's cool, and then they did it in 2D.
Thanks, blue
And
clothes.
it totally worked the same as they explained this talk. You can find all these links if I share it somewhere if you need it and share it. I recommend it. So, and people already know how fire works, how arrows work. Boom, don't have to explain it, it's just fun from your own.
Explain to us.
Next, we're talking about physics, right? Everybody knows Portal. If you don't know it, it's a game of portals, it's a genius for me. And the reason is, but I thought it's a good example how, you know, things pushing down on buttons is an easy, intuitive thing. You don't have to explain anything. People know how gravity works, pretty much, so you just use it. What's not a good example is this old Indiana Jones boulder story. So I've seen this in an angry video game nerd video. We talked about this game from the 80s or whatever. I don't have a better example from today. I'm sure there is. But basically, you're Indiana Jones, you're running around, doing stuff, and
no, the confusion has only begun. You wander around the marketplace.
you have to do these weird things and design stuff. It's a good idea. But it makes no sense. You have to go over these objects, but then they didn't explain that, and you have to read it in a manual. And then at some point you get stuck in the game because the game solution to going forward is to push a 1-ton boulder out of the way of a hole in the wall to get into a cave. And it's like, I'm just a man. Why am I pushing this Indiana Jones? I'm not whatever Superman. So anyway, ridiculous solutions to this game. Nobody figured it out until they read the book and they're like, ah, so terrible way to make it. And is it that important for your story and for the spirit of this game that you push this big boulder out of the way? Why are you giving yourself weird problems? Just make an entrance and then do the boulder pushing in a meaningful way. Maybe you're Sisyphus pushing the boulder up the mountain. That's important to the game. It's frustration is part of the experience. So usually this, I mean, it was limited in the time. You can see the limitation. I don't have to talk about it. But there's great games from that time which are still classics today because it just makes sense. I don't have a good example. I should probably put one in. Snake, good example. Pong, freaking whatever. I don't know. Tetris. Yeah, everybody knows how Tetris works. You see it, it cuts the line, and having fun. Good example, thank you. Tetris, I'm gonna put it in the talk. So, one more thing about intuitiveness. Subway legibility. This is a really cool concept. If you don't know it, you should check it out in this really nice talk by Zach Gage. The simple story is mobile games kind of gave birth to this new way of learning about games. You just see somebody play and it's like you love it. And you want to figure out what that game is. And some games are good for that, but some games are not. So, you know, it explains all that and it's like, what is this nonsense? You don't know what it's about, it's like chaos. But then you go to this game, it's still complex, but I mean, clearly some kind of map game, clearly like there's units, it's turn-based, says end turn. So you know what it's about, it's designed well for subway legibility. You can figure out at a glance in the subway while somebody's playing. That's amazing to me, and it speaks to this idea of intuitiveness. And also limitations, because this is more about limited attention span. You can only communicate so much. So you gotta make the main parts of your game easy to read. I don't know where it has it in here. 3 reads. So you have a poster, you wanna have a clear first thing you see, then you add all the details, and then you add all the nonsense details. And, you know, your idea is more easily understandable. I don't know if this is news for anyone, but I thought it was cool. Go check it out. What else we got? We talk about design. Everybody who knows design funnels and is boring with skills. Yeah, lift the fans. Who knows this? Oh, okay, maybe I talked about it. So, okay, the design funnel is an idea from designers, again, also game design, but it can be applied to anything. It's the idea how you work on an idea. You start with a little idea, then you come up with a lot of ideas, and then you try to narrow it down to something that makes sense, because a lot of those ideas are crap. But the crap ideas are useful to get the good stuff, like we've actually seen. Then you expand it again because you need a little bit more meat on your bones, to use a non-vegetarian expression. And then you narrow it down again, and then you finally get to something that you have to finish someday. You know. That's not always go as planned, but that's kind of just a bit. Kill your darling, that's a good thing you learn in this class. When you narrow it down, I mean, okay, Morse code game. Love it. Maybe you have some ideas about some kind of rhythm or something. Maybe you have to kill somebody's bit. Maybe we cannot make the Morse code idea because there's Morse code anymore, even though we love the idea. But then it sparks out other ideas. So part of the process is coming up with this weird stuff, and then eventually you get to something you make, and it's worth it. And that's kind of what it's about. Has everybody made something that you kind of worked on for years and it's still not done? And are you ever gonna finish that thing? Maybe, yeah, maybe, maybe it will happen. But it's all part of the process. Don't feel too bad. Everybody has that. Good to acknowledge. Sometimes you just gotta say, I'm gonna move on. And I think, speaking of pottery, I don't know if everybody knows this also, but there's an old parable of the sculptor guy who's like making one piece for a year, and then all the students make a piece every day, and then by the end it's like, okay, you make one piece, and you grade it on the one piece you make now. And of course they work better because they made a lot of mistakes and they knew how to do it because they did it over and over. And did I explain it well? Okay, so what else? Better design funnel looking thing. This is how the theory goes. Like you have to convert it so you actually have a concept in this form. It's not how it really works, but new workshop. 3 new game ideas with custom creative limitations. Okay, I want 3 creative limitations. Last workshop was there. We're 40 past. I'm sure everybody's tired and want to go outside. Somebody has a good creative limitation.
It has to be accessible to blind people.
Has to be for blind people. To blind people. Nice, I like it. Okay.
You don't understand the language.
No language requirements. One more. Okay. Has to be about water. Okay, 42 seconds. Let's go. It's out of time. Should we give it more time? Let's give it a little bit. When everybody has 3 ideas, put your hand up. Okay, I got 3. Who else has 3? Okay, 3. Okay, I'm gonna give it a little bit more. I hope you like my song. Nice. Okay, 3. How about 2? Okay, it's down to 2 now. You have 2 ideas already. Okay, you craft ideas. It has to be. More hands. Oh, it's 1 idea. It's 3 ideas that fit all. So I hope you have one that fits all. It doesn't matter. Just do it. Okay, we're gonna kill it now. Okay. Thank you very much. Let's do a little bit sharing and then final slides. What about both? I love it. adjust the water tap. That's weird stuff. And it makes like this pipe sound. Right. Okay. Maybe in the back. Yeah.
Surfing simulator using haptic feedback.
Surfing simulator, haptic feedback. Nice. Okay.
So it's a game where you have to fill up a glass with water, but you can't see. You know, like when you're filling up a glass of water at night, and you kind of try and guess how full it is based on the sound that it's making. But the only way you can stop it, like you don't control anything, is to yell like, "Stop! That's enough! Water!" Yeah. And then yeah. Alright. You can get it.
Thank you. You wanna go?
Flappy Birds when it's a fish and you don't see anything, but you just hear your position and you hear the pitch of the obstacles coming in. And we have to match to that.
Okay, yeah. So,
you remember those old like choose your own adventure games where it's like it gives you a prompt and you have to type in something to do next? Imagine that, but maybe on a Braille tablet that like constantly changes, like electronic tablet.
and then what do you do?
So it would feed you a prompt and then you have, like as the blind person, have to type in and say, oh.
But your keyboard gets all messy all the time?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fun. Yeah, thanks. Sorry. I don't mean to.
Yeah, if there's a diver stuck in a pitch black cave and you need to follow the sounds of air and the water in order to navigate your way out.
Okay, one more from you.
Mine's kind of similar. It's an augmented reality game with hand tracking and spatial audio. And so you're a blind guy swimming in the ocean full of sharks. And to listen for the sharks and then swim away from them.
Whoa. Sounds super. Yeah, one. Yeah, three.
Rhythm game, based on both categories. And then the fish are playing music, so maybe they make bubble sounds in them. Or just the bang from Ariel.
Yeah. Okay, that's one more from there. You want to go?
Okay, so you're trying to get out of Atlantean jail, but your lawyer doesn't have a very good grasp of English, so you kind of have to, in your conversations with him, sort of pick up the language so that like you can make your case for getting it out.
Okay, cool. That was the workshop. Yeah, what did I have? I mean, I did share also, I think. Maybe we can spit the furthest water. That's good. Mirror, you're looking in the. That's not blind friendly. What am I doing? No. I know language, but you know. Music, game, rhythm, maybe dancing. You move your body in rhythm, you get points, and you're in the water. So that's not yeah, so you know, a lot of limitations, but still a lot of ideas. I mean, I'm pleasantly surprised. Thank you so much for making your ideas. What about the process? How was it ridiculously limited now, or what? Or I don't know. I thought it was kind of hard, but also fun.
Yeah, the combination of blind accessibility and no language requirement made it really difficult.
Yeah, but also really cool, you know, because it kind of cut out a lot of obvious ideas in a way. I think I really like that, but I think it's also not necessarily for everyone. I mean, I can recognize a lot of the stuff is not really for everybody's process, and you know, I just want to say, sometimes you just do it differently and it works for you. You know, don't worry about it. Just have to make cool stuff. I think that then I don't know. Yeah.
I noticed for me at least that piling up the limitations made it easier to find one idea, but harder to find multiple.
I mean, look. We didn't also build on anybody else's idea on top of each other's ideas. And I thought I wanted to do that too, but I don't know how to do it in such a format, so I was a little bit reluctant when I made all the slides and I was like, oh yeah. But I think a really cool aspect of this process, especially because I've been working with someone, is when you find an idea, it's like, oh, the Morse code, like what? And then you just both super excited about it, and then you have some more ideas on top of it, and that works with or without limitations, but it's all about, when you get excited about it, it's something completely different, and then you just know that's what we need to do. And then the other idea is like, okay, maybe that's actually a really good game, you just can't see it, but maybe you can't make that game anyway if you're not too excited. But I think this excitement, to me, is so important, and it's just part of the brainstorming process. I don't know about the other creative limitation stuff. It's just a thing. Oh, excited. See, that's what I was talking about. This should have been. Did you get excited about any of this stuff in the process? How did it feel? I don't know. Do you have any reflection on that? Do you recognize this when you get excited with someone and you want to make this thing because oh yes, this. It's like a drug to me. So what is fun? I'm putting it like this because it's like it's not fun enough. I think that's what I'm talking about. It's not ever going to be fun for everyone, but if it's fun for you, you have better chances of making it. So pursue that. And it's good to be specific. It's good to be theoretical. There's a lot of ways you can go around it in theory and stuff. And I've also given a few theories, but at the end of the day, to be honest, I've seen it many times. Some people do everything right, and some people just freaking make the stupidest ass game, and it's the best thing ever. Somebody made this game at Nordic Game Jam once. There was a big finger like this, and somebody else playing a paper, and then you had to draw something with this finger on the paper. If you do it too hard, you break the paper. People lost it. It was so funny. It was great. It was the dumbest thing ever. But this team, they never made a game in their life, so it was their first. Do you know this? Does anybody know this game?
Even better, the whole thing was that they were all bodybuilders having to do fine motor things.
Yes! Oh, so good. Thank you. Yes. So sometimes you just hit on this golden stuff. You have to do this. And you're not going to get there if you're thinking, oh, maybe that can't make it's too silly or this. I think you just got to go for it. So I hope at least you inspire a little bit more toward that, and I'm happy. What else? Of course, you gotta still make it. You can't make everything. I want to talk about scoping, but whatever. Just look. You can scope all you want. Sometimes you just have an idea. You gotta do it. Just do stuff. Forget about it. In a company, it's the same. Honestly, this corporate people, we have to do it like these shaders. But if you're a designer and you have an idea and you just have a vision, maybe they can't see it. Maybe you can get good at pitching. Also, by the way, this is nonsense what you did now because you have to tell your idea in one sentence and you have to make it fun. It's a particular idea that works in this context. So don't think about if you didn't have any ideas that you did wrong or anything like that. It's bullshit. I wanted to address that because, I don't know, there's many processes. And maybe you're like the quietest person and you come up with something amazing. Believe in it and try and do it. Don't listen to all these other guys. I have a lot of stuff to talk about, but we don't have time for it and it's not important. The darlings, fast prototyping, try things on paper, Wizard of Oz. Wizard of Oz, it's like one person is pretending to be the responsive UI in the game and you're like, okay, now you play. I'm going to go here. And then you like do what happens. It's like a quick way to get an idea, to test it. Use existing games and just don't be too precious about it. Share your idea, don't make the perfect prototype. That's an important. I think I'm going to talk about that one. I made slides for it. No, first, I'm going to talk about why. Why are you making this at all? Recently, I was, full disclosure, for the past year, I've been pretty much doing music full time and didn't really work on games. I worked a little bit on games, I meant some games. But then I went to this course about making your music into your business. And first thing they asked us is, so why do you want to be an artist? Why do you want to be a musician? And I mean, it blew my mind. You can see I'm easily impressed, everything blows my mind all the time. But the thing is, it's such a core question, and I couldn't answer it simply, or even to myself in a complicated way. Why am I doing it? So it made me think about it, and of course, I discovered my reason why and how and so on. So it's a very good question to ask yourself. Why are you doing it? You want to make games. And you might make a game at Nordic Game Jam that's amazing, or maybe it's like something unfinished that is not so important to you in the long run. But you should do it for this good reason that you know is your good reason. And you should maybe sometimes ask yourself, why am I doing it? Because it gets you closer to the core thing that care about. And it can be anything from you want to make the world a better place, so you want to make a super successful game that's in your genre, about your culture, about your you have a fascination with ragdolls. You want to make ragdoll games. It's super funny. It's like Kramer. I mean, it's Kramer science thing. Good question. Blow your mind. It's very short too. I like it. Is there such a thing as the perfect prototype?
Final game?
The final game? Anybody else has an opinion? Some shaking heads? No, no. Yeah?
You could say that the perfect prototype is the one that gets the idea across as unambiguously as possible.
Yeah.
And that's it.
But then, as unambiguous as possible. I mean, it has to be perfect, right?
Well, that is.
It doesn't have to be perfect. It just has to get it across, right? I mean, it's a prototype, right? So, and as you said, the final game, is that gonna be perfect? It's gonna be crap sometimes. I don't know. Best games have like weird. If you ask the developers, they're like, we have a lot of talking things, but we still remember some amazing games that are just not very. It has some points there, yeah. So.
I would say that any prototype is perfect as long as you can test what you want to test for.
Any prototype is perfect. I mean, we're gonna find out that's not the case in one moment, but fair. As long as it serves its purpose, it's a good point, because you're doing it for a reason. That's why. Good application of the why. Okay, I'm gonna move on because I want to do one last thing before we end. The perfect prototype. We're all gonna play it together. It's my new game I made this week, and I decided I have to show it. It's whack. It's ridiculous. It's a massive multiplayer game. You don't have to download anything. You just go to the website, and we're gonna play it together. Called Mosquito versus everyone. Okay, I'm gonna get this QR for those who need. Yeah. Oh. Okay. When you all have it, and please turn off the silent for a moment and crank a little bit up the volume, because we need that. It's a sound-based game. Maybe it's good for blind people too, actually. Okay. So I'm gonna open up this side. Okay, so you all have to sit in the room where you are seated, yeah? So please, if you haven't, reset again and try to approximate. So the top is the screen, yeah? So if you're sitting over there, where do you have to be? You guys have to be in the upper right, yeah? And then you guys in the upper left, and because we need this for the AR calibration, okay? Okay, it's shuffling a little bit more. So just refresh the page, it will show up again. I'm sorry about the crappy, it's the perfect prototype after all. But anyway. So once you have that, you press OK. And I'm going to go in and to the other view here, where we'll get to see what is really going on. Okay. So, I mean, the game should be playable without this nonsense, but I thought I might as well show it. Okay, so maybe don't really look at the screen so much. Just want to see that it's working. There's a great chance it's all totally crash and burns. What? It needs. Okay, 10 seconds. I'm gonna reset the Mosquito. Give it a moment. Okay, but crank up the volume and if you have. Oh! Somebody killed it. Okay, nice. Well, kill it obviously is the point, but you have to have your ears peeled. Okay. Okay, I'm actually gonna go here again so you can. Okay, so everybody. Oh, sorry. Okay, everybody quiet and you have to hear it. You have to hear it. Again. Hear this. If you clap, you scare it off, so don't clap too much. It's not gonna come to you if you clap. It's smart, it's AI Mosquito. Oh! I mean, if it's just flying around you, just scaring it off, it's not gonna land. So it has to land. You have to hear it, and then you can see it on the screen. Then you can. Yeah, you can see it. You can see it. Okay, I'm gonna show the screen again. It's probably it has 30 seconds of nonsense because everybody's clapping. Okay, nobody clap until you hear the Mosquito. I'm gonna reset the Mosquito. Okay, hit someone, but that's fine. Okay. Oh. Oh. Ah, nice. Oh, goodness. Oh, it did someone, I think. Okay, it's on the move. Okay. Oh, that's ah, okay. Okay, last one. Ah, it's 6 o'clock. Okay, thank you. Okay, I killed it again. Okay, thank you very much. This was amazing. How many are we? Wow. 61. Massive multiplayer. Oh, thank you so much. Thank you so much. Okay, one last slide. Thank you. Thank you. Give yourself a round of applause.
Thank you so much, Richard. That was amazing. This was the most interactive presentation I've had. It's amazing. Not an easy topic, creativity, you killed it. Okay, so now is party time in Slusen, which is in the B building, which is just over the bridge. So if you head towards the main entrance and to the left, over the bridge, you get to Slusen. Enjoy!